She took my free plane ticket to Bali, skipped my wedding, used it as her honeymoon instead, and when I invoiced her for the money, she sent me a 3-page audit of our entire friendship going back to 2015. I am not joking. 3 pages. Welcome back to Story Vault, where real people share the stories they cannot tell anywhere else. If you are new here, hit subscribe. New stories every Thursday and Sunday. Now let me get into this one. I am 25 years old. I got married to my husband in January in Bali, Indonesia. Destination wedding. My parents paid their own flights and hotel. His parents paid their own. But for our close friends, we covered everything. Each plane ticket was around $2,000. Hotel was about $150 to $300 for the week. My best friend of 10 years, I will call her Gemma, came with her newly married husband John. I paid for Gemma's plane ticket. John paid for his own. That was the arrangement. Neither of them showed up to my wedding. Not the ceremony. Not the reception. Not once across the entire trip. When I finally got hold of Gemma and asked her what happened, she told me that since she and John could not afford their own honeymoon, this felt like a perfect opportunity, and that John had decided he did not feel like attending someone else's wedding. That was her explanation. 10 years of friendship, and that was what she gave me. I was hurt in a way that is hard to describe. This was not some acquaintance. This was someone I had known for a decade. Someone I had flown across the world to celebrate. Someone I had paid $2,000 to get there. I started asking around online whether I would be wrong to take her to small claims court. A lot of people told me to invoice her first and get her reply in writing, so that if it did go to court, I would already have evidence. I thought that was smart, so I did not lead with the invoice straight away. I wrote to her first. I told her I had been distant, but that I wanted to talk about Bali. I told her I was hurt she did not come to the ceremony. I told her I had pulled a lot of strings to make sure she could be there, and I asked her directly whether she thought I had paid for the trip just so she could honeymoon with John. She replied and said she had missed me. She said she knew the trip was for my wedding, but John had not wanted to go because he felt like my wedding would ruin the illusion of the trip being their honeymoon. And she said she thought I would understand. I told her I did not understand. I told her she had taken advantage of me, and that is not what real friends do. And then I invoiced her $2,387.53 for the cost of the plane ticket and the hotel room, with 30 days to pay before I would take legal action. No response. But she started posting subliminal quotes on Instagram. Things about entitled friends, snakes in your life, that kind of thing. I did not respond to any of it. I was quiet. I was getting my paperwork together. And then, about a week later, she sent me a document, 3 pages long, a full itemized financial and emotional audit of our friendship from 2015 to the present day. I want to say that again. She sent me a 3-page itemized invoice for our entire friendship. She listed every dinner and lunch we had ever eaten together, estimated at $18 per meal. Gas money for driving to hangouts. A birthday gift from 2017 that she claimed she had gone into debt for. Time she spent emotionally supporting me after my dad passed. She said she had taken on the role of a grief counselor for me, even though we talked on the phone about it once for 30 minutes. She listed the time she helped me move apartments and billed me for her labor. And at the bottom, emotional distress caused by my threatening her with litigation. Her grand total was $2,412.09, which is exactly $24.56 more than what I had invoiced her. So according to this document, I owed her money. I stared at it for about 10 minutes. Not out of anger, out of pure disbelief at what I was reading. I want to be clear about a few things she left out of her audit. She left out the many lunches and dinners I paid for once I graduated and had a real income. She left out the gifts I gave her over the years. She left out the multiple times I let her stay at my house when she and John were fighting. She left out all the times I was a shoulder for her, and she described 30 minutes on the phone after my father died as grief counseling. I gave the message a thumbs down and said nothing. I was not going to respond while I was this angry. I was going to let the court do the talking. Then, while I was organizing everything for the filing, I found something I had not been looking for. I was going through photos from Bali, just scrolling through memories, and I ended up on the page of a local photographer who had taken pictures during a sailing excursion my husband and I went on while we were there. I was looking through their uploads when I stopped on a photo. It was Gemma, with a man, and it was not John. There were several photos. One of them sitting together with drinks. One with his arm around her. One of them kissing. I sat there for a while and just thought about the timeline. My wedding was the day after everyone flew in. I never saw Gemma at the hotel once. I never ran into her anywhere around town. I had assumed she was just keeping a low profile to avoid a confrontation with me. But she was not hiding from me. She was not even there with John. She was in Bali with someone else entirely. I went looking for him online. It took some work. He was not on her main Instagram at all. But she had a small pottery account she barely used, and I found him there. I will call him Ryan. Ryan had photos from Bali on his own page, several of them, including one taken inside the hotel room I had paid for. I had everything I needed. I did not bring the affair into the courtroom. I did not need to. On the day of the hearing, I told my side, showed the judge the text messages, and explained clearly that I had paid for Gemma's plane ticket and hotel so that she could attend my wedding, and that she had not shown up. Gemma told the judge that the trip had been a gift to celebrate her new marriage and was not conditional on her attending the wedding. The judge did not buy it. I was awarded the full amount. Gemma walked out of the courtroom without once looking at me. And within the hour, she was posting on Instagram, and this time, she was not being subtle. She called me a bitch. She posted photos of me and made comments about my body. She brought up my dead grandmother and said things I am not going to repeat. Mean girl stuff, the kind you thought ended in high school. The first time she went to Instagram, I ignored it. Not this time. I posted the photo of her kissing Ryan on my story. I tagged her. I tagged John, and I captioned it. "Sorry we missed you in Bali. Hope you had fun." She spammed my phone within minutes. Calls, texts, voicemails screaming. Before I blocked her on everything, I sent her one last message. "You should have just come to the wedding." Now the comment section on this one did not hold back. And honestly, I do not blame them. Most people could not get past the audit. One comment that got hundreds of upvotes said it was the single, most calculated piece of delusion they had ever seen. And this is a thread that sees a lot of delusion. Several people pointed out that the total being almost exactly what she had been invoiced was not a coincidence. That document took time to put together. That was intentional. The grief counselor line got its own thread. Multiple people who are actual qualified grief counselors showed up to make clear that 30 minutes on the phone does not count. The original poster had apparently talked to her exactly once for half an hour after losing her father. She billed for it like it was a professional service. A handful of people said posting that photo was stooping to her level. Some thought she should have stayed quiet after winning in court. But then, most of those people also read the part about the comments she made about a dead grandmother. After that, the room went pretty quiet on the stooping to her level argument. So, what do you think? Was posting that photo the right call? Or did she take it one step too far after already winning? Leave your verdict in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe and hit the bell for new stories every Thursday and Sunday. And if this reminded you of someone, send it to them. They'll know why. I will see you in the next one.